Unleash the power of purpose with impactful business voices, hosted by Nancy Backey and Anita Larson. Each week, you'll be inspired by stories from companies that are making a real difference in the world, and you'll learn practical tips on how to grow your business with an impact.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of Impactful Business Voices. So for those of you who don't know us, just to give you a little bit of background, you'll see us both on the screen today, which is super exciting for us. So if you don't know, Nancy's in Canada. She's in Montreal. I'm in Orlando, Florida. So we're on very opposite sides of North America here, I guess. And she's down here on spring break, and she's staying with me for a week. And although we work together and known each other for several years now, we have, well, I guess due to the pandemic and other things, there's been opportunities, but it just hasn't happened. So this is the first time we've met in person. So our daughters are getting to meet, we're getting to hang out and actually work together in person for the week. So it's really exciting, and we're happy to have you guys here witnessing this great occasion, I guess.
Yes, it's so this is you guys from Florida.
Yeah. So just wanted to share that, get to know us a little bit and who we are. And then let's introduce our exciting guests today.
Yes. So today we have Russ Johns. We are so excited. And for those who don't know Russ, he has been a blessing to us in our podcast. We honestly would not be here stress-free without him. So thank you, Russ, and we can't wait to thank him. But Russ Johns, he's a live stream podcast and production strategist. Again, what he does is he helps us basically and many clients with the production, just ease that production from A to Z. As long as you know what you need to say on the screen, let him do the rest. And that's what helps us, because we're not techie.
We could just do the talking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're happy to share his amazing expertise with all of you guys. And without him, like I said, Impactful Business Voices would definitely not be the same. So let's hear more from Russ. And Russ, can we bring you on screen, please?
Bring yourself on screen.
Yes. Welcome, Russ. Welcome. You have to get off of mute, though.
Oh, you're still on mute, Russ. Sorry. This is what happens when you're a guest and the production person.
Well, yeah, I was typing in some elements here, and I thought, well, I could avoid that and the noise. So, yeah, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate being here, and it's so fun to hang out with both of you. It's a wonderful experience.
Well, I mean, we're so excited to have you in front of the camera for once, because we see you every Tuesday, but our listeners or viewers, they don't see you, but they probably don't even know that you're the one that's there in the background and making this all run smoothly. So yeah, it's just really exciting to have you in front of the camera.
Yes. Russ, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And this has been a wonderful experience, and from both directions, and you guys have been tremendous to work with, and I really appreciate the effort and energy that you've put into this, because I believe that everyone has a voice, everyone has a gift, and everyone has a message. And when you're willing to share that, there is so much value that you can produce in the world, and especially the people that you're working with, or they may not know you quite yet. They may not have enough information to understand what you do, how you help, and what you can deliver. So it's really important that we think about, how do we articulate this in a way that people can consume it, learn a little bit more about what you do, how you help, and then make a decision about, okay, I want to book a call with Anita. I want to book a call with Nancy. I want to learn more about how I can improve my business. I want to improve how my strategy is putting into the world. And that's what it's about, is exchanging the value and the information and getting it more accessible to everyone that's involved.
And I mean, that's so relevant to what we do and the purpose of the podcast, make an impact. So for any business that's out there trying to make an impact and change people's lives, positively, they have to be heard, and they have to be able to get that message out there. And that's basically what you help with, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and for individuals that may not necessarily be as technical as they are qualified in their own business, there's a certain level of overwhelm, and there's like, okay, what do I need to do next? What tools do I need? How do I need to start? What's the process? And that's what I've been working for decades on, is this whole process thing, and putting pieces of the puzzle in place, removing the friction from getting the results you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what it's about, is how do we make it easy for everyone involved? It's I have a skill set, you have a skill set, you're training and teaching and coaching your community. I'm doing the same thing on the technical side, so you don't have to think about it. And what that allows and frees you up to do is actually relax, and you don't have to stress about the process. You can just go on and start doing your show, and it becomes much easier after that. Hopefully that's the experience you have.
Yeah, no, and
absolutely.
Russ, it's that's one thing, as business owners, we seem to not put that on our delegation list. We're like, oh, okay, we're a business owner, we got to do it all. And we really don't. We can't learn everything. We can't do everything. I mean, it's great to learn podcasting, but I don't have time to learn it and understand the right process. You've been doing it for, I don't know, 20, 30, since 92, I think it's been. Like, how can I learn what you've learned since then?
Sorry if I can follow up on that. Like, it's the difference between being a business owner and running your business versus doing every part of your business. At some point you have to be the person that just runs your business and let other people help you with it and get to that point.
Yeah.
Well, every business owner has to go through the process of understanding the elements of their business.
Absolutely.
There's a difference between understanding it and having to do every piece of it. And if you can document and delegate, that's really when the freedom becomes more available to your time, because you understand it enough to understand and know what has to be accomplished. The outcome is what you were really looking for. It's not the journey to the outcome. It's, I can hand this off, I can document the process to my understanding, hand it off to someone that can do it better than I can, and then the outcome improves, it stays the same, or it gets better. And that way we can actually go on and do something else that's in our wheelhouse, that's better serving our business, because it's, our skill set, when the things I don't enjoy are delegated to someone else. And it's hard to do. It's difficult. And then the other thing is like, okay, well, you can either take it off your plate or you can delegate it. So you have a decision. It's just going back to the process of deciding, what do I want to do with this?
Yeah. And that's the one thing that in business, we're not taught that. We're not taught, go get a VA, go get a podcast producer, go get a this, don't do your own website. I mean, you're going to go off and learn how to do it, and don't do your own landing page, all these things. So we're on your page for sure, Russ. And it's been wonderful knowing you the last few years. We met back in about 2 years ago.
Yeah. It was Global Tea Break, wasn't it?
Global Tea Break. Yeah, that's where we met.
Yeah.
And what a blessing that place is.
Yeah, it's really a connection place. So
yes, it really is. So tell us more about you, Russ. I mean, we know a lot about you, but we want the world to know about you.
I want to know specifically the Pirate Syndicate and the pirate flag behind you. Like, can you tell us about that? Like, what's the story behind it?
Yeah, absolutely. I was involved in radio for years, and in radio, traditional radio, where you have towers and you have broadcasting and you have engineers and everything, and you have regular studios, in the FCC world, Federal Trade Commission, or, the communications, you have a license to broadcast. You have to have a license. And if you're broadcasting a signal without a license, you are considered a pirate broadcaster.
Okay, so that's where it's from.
Yeah. And so when the internet became available and people started doing podcasting in the early days, it was much different. It was more difficult. You had to, it was hard to find, sign up. It wasn't just, sign on to Spotify and, dial in a podcast. There were a lot of technical issues that you had to, kind of work your way through. And my idea was that just because we now have access to this, you could pick up your phone and you can start podcasting.
Yeah.
And so with that, you don't need a license. You have permission. So you're considered now a pirate broadcaster.
Full-time pirate.
Yeah, a full-time pirate. And you have the opportunity to pick up your phone and create content whenever you want. You can go out there, create some shenanigans and connect people and create communities and do all of these things that I believe we're living in this most amazing time in the history of humanity as it relates to being able to connect with individuals. When we were younger and before the internet, it was more difficult to connect with people around the world. And now we're able to connect, we're able to collaborate. You two have been working together on different parts of the country and different parts of the continent. We've never met face to face, but we've been working together for months.
So that's our next goal. Now that Nancy and I met face to face, now we got to meet you next.
Yeah, exactly. And so these are the opportunities that are unfolding in front of us. So being a little bit of a pirate and having that mindset of hey, let's believe that we can do something bigger, we can do something more, we can help more people out. And I believe my mission in life is to help more people help more people. So if I can help you broadcast your message to more people in your community, then we all win. It's a gift that we can do. And, my mantra is kindness is cool and smiles are free. And I believe that to be true because there's no downside. It's like, let's just make sure that we're doing the best we can with what we have and put it out in the world and share this information.
Yeah. And Russ, what we're doing here at Impactful Business Voices is really what podcasting is really about as well, is you making an impact. You want people to know your story. Why are you different? Why you? And it's not even just you. It's just really understanding that there's a problem, there's a solution, and who can help. That's what podcasting is really about.
And I think even letting people understand that you can run a business and make a profit while making an impact. Like those two things, I think a lot of times it's this misconception. Like if you're going to make an impact on people, you're going to help people, you shouldn't have any monetary benefits from it.
Agreed. Yeah.
But in my opinion, if you earn money helping people, then you're earning money to be able to help more people.
Yep.
You're getting the money you need to continue helping people. Yep. So I think just changing that mindset too is great.
And I think that's what life is about too. It's not just about making money. It's if we can make an impact and change somebody's life in one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said it right, Nancy. Making an impact in a number of different ways is so important. And because we have this technology, let's allow individuals around the world to listen and get a glimpse of what you guys are doing, because it's tremendous value that you're bringing to the table. And it's really something that, sometimes we go through this, this daily groove. We got, kids to deal with, we got work to deal with, we got groceries and cooking and whatever happens to be in front of us for the day, and we sometimes forget that a new perspective can push us into a new direction, and that new direction can make an impact on a lot of people around us. So think about the opportunities rather than the obstacles, and think about how we can actually navigate these ideas and make a tremendous impact for those around us. Set the example, be the example, and do what we can to help others along on their journey as well.
Yes. And you're so right. We want to be able to flourish what you do, Russ. not just because you've helped us, but I mean, we've seen you on other podcasts, your own podcast. I mean, you have your own weekly podcast, right?
Yeah.
Actually, is it weekly?
I actually have a couple of podcasts I'm on. And I actually I'm on guests all the time. And I was doing the Pirate broadcast, I was doing a daily for almost 600 episodes.
I remember.
Wow.
Yes.
And before that, I was doing 2-minute tips in 10 minutes or less.
I like that.
And, I've always been doing something like that. In fact, I taught a university journalist class, and I think I got 12 people started on a podcast in one afternoon session. And I've taught thousands of different individuals how to podcast and create their podcast. And for me, it's an easy process because I've been doing it for so long, but I often forget that it is a process and it does take time and effort. And you guys have gone through this, and now you're starting to do your podcast, you're getting episodes out there, and you're going to continue to expand on that idea. And it's just really, it excites me to see you guys excited about what you're doing and helping more people. So
and you let us enjoy it instead of like stressing out and freaking out every Tuesday when we have to go live. Because now like we said before, we can just sit back and chat now and not worry about anything else. So we're actually starting to enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
it can be enjoyable.
It makes it fun. Yeah.
And until I met you, Russ, or we met you, we never knew how in depth the process needs to be to have a good, clean, properly, just that whole podcast from A to Z.
A produced podcast.
Yeah, the whole production from A to Z.
Yeah,
building out the process and all the steps that should be included. Because if we had done this on our own, we probably would have just like thrown ourselves out there and we're like, wait a minute, this is wrong. This is, instead of starting out right from the beginning and you already knowing all the steps and helping us put them in place. Yeah. And instead of, trial by error, trial by fire, if you will.
Yeah.
So what was the most surprising piece of the journey for you?
I think for me, I mean, you can speak to, for me, I think the most surprising piece is this part where, we're sitting in the studio, if you will. And then if you weren't here, we would have to sit here and create all the banners. We have to like switch the cameras, and there's all these little back end parts that we did not consider at all. And with your help, it's just running smoothly, and we just trust that it's happening because we know you. So that to me was the most surprising part, to be honest. I did not consider all those bits and pieces of it.
Yeah, I mean, for me as well, all the bits and pieces. It's actually, I cannot stop thinking about the first day that we started talking about this, and you had your process already in place. Everybody has certain steps that needs to be done, but then you took us and said, impactful business voices, we have to do certain things specifically, right? So there are some differences. Not everybody's podcast can be produced the same way. I love that. Podcast your brand. I think that's where we started, right?
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Great.
And there's a free course, you could take the free course and get signed up and learn a little bit, and podcasting, you have to have a mindset that it's a journey. It's not one and done. You want to be able to get involved and engaged and actually add value to the community. Yeah. What you're doing is developing a community. You're developing relationships. It's not just a production process. The production is piece of it, and anything you can do to streamline that process, as with any business venture, if you can remove the friction, and like we were talking about before the show, document and delegate this process. And understand, okay, what is it that is most important that I need to get out, and also what can I avoid until I get a little further down the road. And those are the kinds of things that we need to just kind of understand and appreciate, so we don't have to do everything all at once. We can actually graduate into those items as we move through. Yeah.
And I think also the technology, to have you already knowing the best platforms to use, the technology we should use, and making that simple and easy. Because I know, and I consider myself pretty tech savvy, but podcasting I haven't done before. So not being familiar with the tools, that would have been a lot to our process to start vetting different platforms, testing things out, versus you just advising on like, this works really well and this is what you need to do. And I think that goes to like even our clients we work with, we know some tools really well and we give that same advice in areas that we are comfortable with. But this was not an area we were comfortable with. So to have you there as being that advisor, so beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm more than happy to help anyone that is interested in learning more. I schedule calls all the time. If you want to schedule a call, bookruss.com. This is another idea. It's a simple URL that people can remember, and you can get on my schedule and book a call, and I'll be more than happy to review and answer your questions and share ideas and give you some direction. Zero cost, zero obligation. And, if we decide to work together, that's even better. However, getting to the point where we can appreciate what is needed and necessary to succeed, I think is really important for everybody in this day and age right now is like, what do I need to do next and what's going to make the most impact? And that's the whole point of your podcast is what impactful business moves am I making in order to succeed? And that's what I love about the idea that you guys are doing and moving forward with. So hats off to you.
Yeah, thank you. And for you helping us, because we would totally not be there. I mean, she's techie. I'm totally not techie, and I'm not starting to learn anytime soon. So no, you've been wonderful, Russ. We want the world to know a little bit how you kind of got into it, and really, what are the steps that somebody can start taking? Of course, getting on the phone with you is number one. I mean, that's how we started. We didn't even know like StreamYard and Dub and this and that, all these things. Like, that's just an overwhelm for me. Can you just tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, if anyone that books a call, I have it's about a 10-question process that I could send you. And one of the things that it asks is, why do you want a podcast? And it's, it's kind of plays on Simon Sinek's, why. And it's really important because if you're looking for the big bucks, the fame and the fortune, it's probably the wrong direction to go.
Right.
And so you have to understand, it's like, why am I compelled to do this? Because, you could start a YouTube channel, you could go on, Clubhouse and do audio, you could do on LinkedIn, you could do audio. There is so many options. There are so many options out there to produce content. And I believe that content is a great strategy for marketing, but you have to understand why you're doing it and what your audience needs because it's not about us as a podcaster, it's about our audience. What value can we pour into our audience that allows the relationship to develop and mature into an opportunity for our business to grow? And there's a lot of different ways we can earn money as a result of being a podcaster. And you just have to understand all of those pieces of the puzzle to see, okay, am I going to get sponsors, or am I going to advertise another part of my business? And as coaches, we're all here as coaches, and that's another opportunity that if someone likes what I'm saying and they like the way I'm saying it, the personality and the presence, and some of the ideas that I share, maybe they become an ideal candidate for being a client. So it's really, how do I navigate this, and what's some strategies that I can use and not get overwhelmed by the technology, not get overwhelmed by the process, but really the essence of the value I'm delivering, and then be able to get to that, and why you're doing that is so important. And then, some of the other things about how to style of show and how I can do it, decide, and there's a process that goes through that, and I'll help you walk through that so you can decide, wow, this is more involved, or this sounds like fun, because it's either one. It's like,
I'd say it was more involved than we thought. When we were like, oh, that's all part of this. We can't just go on and talk, and there's more to it than that.
Yeah, but and with your help too, Anita, we've put a process together now with your help as well, Russ, that we honestly, it's not something that we could have Googled, right? Because, somebody wants to learn something and they just say, oh, how do we podcast? It's just not something that you could just learn just like that. You really got to sit down with an expert that they're not just doing it for them. You're doing it because you're working with us. And I know you probably don't work with everybody, just like we don't. We don't work with everybody that comes to us, because we have to have that passion to be able to bring that
and that relationship with the person we work with.
Excuse me. Yeah. I remember 2 years ago, I was like, podcasting, I don't have time for that. Or even that thought. But, a few months ago, when I just said, this would be good. And we started talking about it. This was like one of the best.
We should start a podcast together. We do this and this. And from there, we're like, okay, let's do it. Now, what are our next steps? And that's where you came into the picture, right?
Yeah. Well, and think about this. I look at life, it's almost as if, life is, kind of like a book, chapters in the book of life. Mm-hmm. So even if you have this podcast and you have it for, let's just say, a year or 2 years or even 6 months, you have still created a large body of work that you can take that content and you can reshare it out and you can do things with it that it's an experience. You have that experience, and that adds to the value that you can bring to the table, because you're coaching other individual business owners on their journey. And if they think about that, then you have that experience that you can say, well, let me tell you my experience on podcasting, and maybe you can add this to your thought process. And it's just another perspective that we need to look at. And it's a journey. It's like, okay, well, it's a start and a finish. And, you don't have to think about, okay, I don't have to do this. I get to do this. I have the opportunity to do this. So,
I love that you start your process with, finding out the why. So basically, is podcast right for you or not? Like, should you even be doing it? I think that's a great starting point, and like identifying that before you even launch into it, right?
Mm-hmm. Question for you, Russ. You were saying a few minutes ago how, people have so many different options. If it's Clubhouse, YouTube Live, LinkedIn Live, Facebook Live, what are your top 3 things that you would say why podcasting is one of the greatest compared to the rest?
When I think about the process for myself, and this is me personally, I love what we're doing right now, right here. And that's the live video where we can actually see the interaction. We can understand and appreciate some of the questions, and we can take the conversation any direction we want. And I love that live element. And there's produced shows where, you know exactly what the questions are, exactly what the responses are. And then there's the podcasts that take it to the next level where they edit everything and they assemble, like an NPR style news process. So you have to think about what is the outcome, it goes back to the why. What is the outcome I'm looking to achieve for not only the audience, but for myself? How much effort do I want to place on this piece of content and still bring joy to my day, and, maybe see a new perspective or learn something new or share something that I hadn't shared before, and being vulnerable with it and being open with it and knowing that I will make mistakes. I've had broadcasts. In fact, I had a broadcast last week where I forgot to click the checkbox that allows audio to be shared. And then on top of it, I didn't share the screen that I was explaining. So it's like, here I am. I've done thousands of podcasts. I've been on radio. I've produced shows, everything else, and I still am human. I'm still human.
That's what makes us human.
And that's the beauty of it. It's like, well, I screwed that up. Let's move on to the next piece.
Hey, you started on mute with us today.
Yeah, exactly. It's like rookie mistake that, in just part of the production process.
Exactly.
And that's the beauty of it, is we're all human and we all have the opportunity to develop and grow and expand our abilities. So it's like, give yourself credit. You showed up,
we
turned it on, and you did what you need to do. So,
you kind of stole one of our questions that we always ask when you asked us what surprised us during this journey. So we're going to throw that back at you. What has surprised you the most since you kind of started doing this and started helping people launch their podcast? We know that, and this is why we usually ask this question of our guests, because when you start as a business owner, you start out thinking it's going to be something, and it's rarely not what you think it's going to be. So what has surprised you most, doing what you do?
The amount of enthusiasm for learning something new is always, it always brings me joy. Being able to see people know and understand that they have the ability to change lives. And it's always surprising to see how that journey takes place and unfolds, because it's always different. It's always unique. Even if the process technically is very similar, it's not always the same journey in your mind's eye to get it. When you're coaching somebody and all of a sudden you see the light bulb go on, and that they've made a huge shift in the way that they're seeing the world, and knowing that they can do it because that you taught them something new that they hadn't seen before. It's always surprising to me how that process takes place and unfolds with every individual. So,
and sometimes, Russ, individuals that I've met don't even know why they sparkle. Why they stand out, and you do that. And Emil, that's an incredible feeling. I totally hear you. It's sometimes we're in our own, and especially with this pandemic, that's like a lot of us are just at home and we're by ourselves. We don't realize why we flourish, and we bring that out. You brought us up, you brought it to us and helped us when it came to putting this podcast. I mean, we get into these scenarios as well. So no, I love that.
And that's the thing that I think really gets us up in the morning and, keeps us going, is how can we make an impact? How can we make an impact on our business? How can we make an impact on our family and friends around us? And what is it, because we need to make it matter. We need to make it matter for us. We need to make it matter for those around us. And anytime we can do that and learn something new, I try to, make a difference in somebody's life every day. I try to learn something new every day, and I try to have gratitude for the things I have and appreciate those things that are around me. And I truly appreciate both of you. And this has been a wonderful experience for me. And I continue to support you in all your adventures in podcasting. So I'm excited about the future and what the future holds for all of us.
And we greatly appreciate you as well. So can you leave us with the number one tip, besides obviously booking an appointment with you, which everybody should do if they're thinking about starting their own podcast?
And Brittany just booked one. That's awesome. Have an awesome Brittany. Call with them.
But what's the number one tip that you would leave us with for anybody that is thinking about podcasting? And I kind of feel like you already answered it in terms of you need to consider your why. Would that be your number one tip, or?
Well, I would actually take it a step further and say, think about how you want to spend your time. We only have 24 hours of energy, and out of that 24 hours, we have to do enough to sleep and recharge so we have energy to do things. There's words, images, audio, and video. And depending on what your personality is and your preference, you may be more excited about writing something. You know, you can publish. You don't have to do audio. You can do video and then turn that into audio, just like we do here. And this process of, you know, so you have duplication of content and you can expand that content. But think about, how do I want to start? What feels comfortable for me? Because the more resistance we place in our way, the less excited we are about continuing for any length of time. So remove the friction, find the joy, and make sure that you want to be able to continue this because it's valuable to the people around you. And that's my biggest ask, is just find some joy in your world and create the content that brings and excites you every day.
I love it.
And also the world excites you, but you know, what are people also looking for? They're looking for you.
Yeah.
They just don't know what they're, you know, what is it? What is that message that you want to bring out?
Yeah.
I promise you, whatever your message is, whether you're talking about, you know, farming or knitting, there is an audience out there, 8 billion people out there in the world. There's somebody out there that wants to learn about what you're doing and what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So
And
never
somebody
feel
needs it.
they need it.
Really make an impact in their lives, no matter how small you think it might be, or maybe you don't think it matters.
Yeah.
But there is going to be somebody out there that needs to hear that message.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Your voice matters.
Yeah.
So I
great.
love this conversation.
This was really great, Russ. We're so happy that we got, you know, we know you, and there's always a place to get to know more of you, but we really wanted to let the world know about you.
Well, and they need to know about you. You know, go to subscribe to the YouTube channel, connect with Nancy and Anita today. And I know that I'm here. However, I am the support system that allows us to move forward on a regular basis. And Anita and Nancy are doing some great work. So connect with them and make sure that you go to their YouTube channel at Impactful Business Voices and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell. All the social things.
Thank you for the plug, Russ. We love it.
You're doing what we were supposed to do. Thank you, my friend. You are wonderful. Thanks, Russ, for joining us again. Thank you for not just joining us, but being there with us and supporting us. And thanks for helping whoever's going to be out there that needs your help, that's been, you know, scared to get on a podcast. Or go ahead, Russ.
All right, I'm going to step off and I'm going to let you guys wrap up the show, because I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to say the last and final word. So
thank you,
Deal?
Russ. See you
Deal?
soon.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate
Thank
you.
you, Russ.
Be blessed. Be in touch.
So I got so many takeaways from our conversation with Russ, and I love his hashtag, smiles are free.
Yes.
I love that. And I love what he said about, you know, identifying your why. Why would you want to do a podcast? And also your message matters.
Yeah.
I think those are all just really important takeaways. I don't know if you have any.
And no, I mean, there was a lot of, you know, it's again, I think what Russ does is really, it's a blessing because he does it so stress-free. It's not like, here's a whole pile of homework and go do it. You know, even with our clients, we can't just give you that much homework and do it. It's like one step at a time. And that's what really made it for me.
I actually want to, because this conversation with Russ is just so spot on for why we started the podcast in the first place. I just want to talk about like that a little bit before we wrap up, because I think doing what we do as business coaches, we work with so many different industries, so many different business owners. We get to know so many people that impress us. And although, we're here as coaches, but we learn so much from our clients as well. You know, we're here for your structure and your processes and making sure, you know, your business is set where it needs to be. But you have so many life lessons to teach us, right? And I feel like that's why we started this podcast, because we both love working with businesses that are out there to make that impact and to give them a platform to be seen and to be heard, but also potentially inspiring other people to know that there are businesses out there that are doing this successfully, and they are making a change, they want to make a change, and they're stepping up and doing it with the help of people like us and people like Russ, and having a support system around them. So I would just want to say that anybody that's looking, has something they feel like they want to share, and maybe they want to build a business around, you can do it.
Yep.
People do it all the time. It's in these days, a lot more people are doing it than it used to be, because you can do so many things virtually, and so many more tools and platforms, technology that are out there to help you, enable you to do it. But you should have somebody to help you walk through the steps so you don't get discouraged, somebody that keeps you going and helps you make it easy to get started. So I just wanted to share that.
And even if you don't know where to start, it's totally okay. I mean,
yes,
when we started the business, we had no idea where we were 15, 20 years ago. Well, you're over 20 years. We had to speak to somebody that knew what they were doing, that they experienced. It's just like podcasting. I mean, I'm on podcasts all the time. You're on podcasts all the time, but being on one and having one is a complete different thing. So,
and what's the saying? Without failure, there's no success.
Absolutely.
We failed so many times. That's why we feel like we now have the experience to help others succeed, because we've gone through, we failed for you.
But we still fail today, just because we're in business, we're still learning. We still have people that have more wisdom than us, have had more experience, that we're still learning from every day. So,
but I definitely feel like, I'm sure for you too, to some point, like we get our inspiration from the clients and people that we work with, and the people that we engage with every day, and how passionate they are about what they do. So.
Absolutely. Well, this is a really nice podcast today. So thank you guys for joining us. Yes. Next week, we will be...
we'll be speaking with a local martial arts studio, which is a little different. It's Robertson's Martial Arts Studio here in Orlando. And we want to talk about what they do that's different and what makes them unique, and the impact they make, especially in the life of the kids they work with, and what they do outside of just teaching martial arts and self-defense. There's a lot more to it than that. So that's kind of what we want to share next week.
Yes. So guys, don't miss out on our future episodes. We are, really blessed to have you guys here. Whether you're live or listening to the recording, thank you. We ask you to just subscribe to the YouTube link, hit the bell so that you can always be notified. But we are here every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. And reach out to us. I mean, don't be shy. If you make an impact in this world, which we know a lot of you do, just send us a message. And we'd love to have you on one of our episodes. Yes, there's a little waiting list, but don't worry about it. We will get you on the calendar. We love you guys. Thank you for your support, and go make an impact.
Thank you for listening to Impactful Business Voices. Subscribe now and don't miss an episode.